So I'm standing in the woods right now, and I have found a couple elderberries. So elderberries are fantastic. They're incredible medicinal plants, and they're also wonderful for wildlife, feeding birds and a lot of different types of insects. So here's an American elderberry plant, and you can notice one of the things that's distinctive about it is it has two kind of spurs that come off, shoots in the spring. They kind of look like this, and then they're opposite each other, and they'll produce at various points. You can see these other branches right here. So again, opposite each other. Another distinctive factor that I like to find is these little dots on the bark are very distinctive. And another thing that's very distinctive about elderberry is that it has a corky interior. So it's very, very light. Some people use them for flutes or for maple spires, for tapping maple trees, all sorts of different things, but they're really, really easy to propagate. And they also benefit quite a bit from being pruned. This is a wild plant, and you will notice that these ones right here, these I think are mostly some of these have died back quite a bit. So there's a lot of branches that have died back. You can kind of see this one is definitely not going to be producing next year. But when they get pruned, they actually produce more berries and also flowers, fruit, all those different pieces. So springtime is an awesome time to propagate elderberry. Let me just show you how to do that. So elderberry, like many brambles and other berry bushes, actually responds really, really well to being pruned. So if I were to cut it at some point, it would actually encourage these two branches on the side to come out and produce more and grow more vigorously as well. So if I were to come up to the top here, if I were to cut off something like that, here we go. So here is my elderberry, and what I will do is I'm actually going to cut it at an angle like this. So it has a nice exposed surface there, and you'll notice actually that the inside of this is very corky. So you could just stick a stick through that and it would become hollow very quickly. But this is an amazing thing to plant. Springtime's a great time to propagate it. You'll look around, there's a lot of non-native celandine, so it's technically an invasive species that is growing as a ground cover. There's not a lot of other things that can compete. But elderberry is a really wonderful native beneficial species that helps landscapes, and having an overstory plant propagated in an area like this is a great way to add benefit for both wildlife and people. So you literally just pop that into the ground and try to get it so that the nodes, there's at least one node kind of at the soil surface or just below the soil surface. And so you want to make sure that there's enough nodes. And what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to cut off some of these dead side branches. And let's see. And I might even consider topping off this very beginning spot right there. I'm going to do actually one more. So this one I think is unlikely to propagate, but I can try it anyway. And I'll just put it in here, sink it down, and again, this is just hopefully has a potential for sprouting. So to sprout elderberry, you want to make sure that your stick has at least 2 different nodes. And then you also want to make sure you cut that base so that it's at an angle. And then it will propagate. And spring is a wonderful time to propagate it. If you can get it before these buds come all the way out like they are now, that's even better. But spring is a wonderful, bounteous time for this type of plant to grow and flourish. So another thing that I am noticing about this elderberry right here is that it has a lot of these vines coming up it. So these are honeysuckle vines, and these vines are actually, they're not ideal for this to kind of sprout, so they're pretty young right now, but if they grow too much, they will kind of overwhelm this plant. So this is an opportunity for me to either cut or, if I can, remove the roots so that this elderberry has a chance to propagate and grow and thrive. So hopefully this guy will have a chance to turn into a beautiful elderberry. And you can already see some of those stalks are doing beautifully up there.